Picture this. You spend your entire life wondering if the man who sits on the throne of hip-hop might actually be your father. That's not a movie plot. That's the storm Rymir Snatches has been trapped in for more than a decade. And this isn't some wild tabloid fantasy about, oh, I look like him, so we must be related. This is a deep, painful search for truth that's been dodged, denied, and crushed under the weight of legal machinery for years. What started as one young man's quiet quest for answers has exploded into a courtroom war that's dragging two of the most powerful names in entertainment, Jay-Z and Beyoncé, right into the spotlight. Rymir's mother, Wanda, has been telling the same story for decades. Back in the 90s, when she was still underage, she allegedly had a fling with Jay-Z. That alone is explosive, but she didn't stop there. She told her son over and over that the man he thought was his father wasn't. She said it straight. Jay-Z is your dad. Now you'd think that kind of claim would at least earn a conversation, maybe a phone call, maybe, bare minimum, a DNA test. But Jay-Z, silent. Publicly, it's like the possibility never existed. Rymir, for years, tried to keep this whole thing low-key. No paparazzi chases, no messy Instagram rants. All he wanted was one thing, a DNA test. Closure. That's it. But instead of answers, he got locked doors, legal blockades, and a justice system that treated his story like a joke. In 2022, it got even worse. The court slapped him with an injunction saying he couldn't file any more cases against Jay-Z without special permission. They called his fight frivolous. Imagine someone telling you that your very identity, your family legacy is frivolous. And Jay-Z's team, they didn't just deny paternity, they went on the attack. They accused Rymir, his late mother, and even his caregiver of trying to scam Jay-Z. They painted him as a fame chaser, a gold digger. But Rymir's been crystal clear. I'm not looking for a payout. I work every day, I have my own kids, I just want peace and the truth. Then, things took a darker turn. Witnesses started backing out. Not because they didn't believe Rymir, but because they were scared. One woman, whose name was kept anonymous in court records, said two investigators showed up at her door and tried to pressure her into signing a statement saying her allegations against Jay-Z were false. She refused, but the intimidation was real. Her family was approached too. This isn't how everyday paternity cases play out. This was organized, strategic, dangerous. And where does Beyoncé fit in all this? Right at the center of the storm. There's a growing belief among insiders that she doesn't want this story to see daylight, not just to protect her husband, but to protect their empire. The Carters have built a billion-dollar brand on loyalty, family, and legacy. A legal case claiming Jay-Z fathered a child with an underage girl. That's a wrecking ball to the image they've spent decades polishing, especially since this isn't Jay-Z's first time in the rumor mill over women. Carmen Bryan, Foxy Brown, Rihanna. Each time the same smoke. Secrecy, whispers, and power imbalance. Carmen once said she was pregnant when rumors about her and Jay-Z were swirling. And Rihanna? Let's just say her early career has an apology trail that still gets side eyes. So the question is, what happens when power collides with truth? When billion-dollar deals, partnerships, and reputations are on the line? In Jay-Z's case, it seems the playbook is simple. Shut it down, bury it, erase it. Behind the velvet curtains and flawless Instagram posts, insiders claim Beyoncé has been far more involved in keeping this mess out of the headlines than the public realizes. Her image is perfect, polished, untouchable. But in the shadows, people say she's been moving pieces on the chessboard to keep Jay-Z's name clean because their lives, their fortunes, their reputations are tied together like one massive brand. If Jay-Z's castle crumbles, hers takes damage too. And protecting that brand? It's not just about love, it's business survival. Some sources go further, claiming Beyoncé has personally made sure certain women who could harm the Carter empire never get a public platform again. Jaguar Wright, for instance, dropped a bombshell saying Beyoncé teamed up with Diddy to make certain people disappear. One of those names? Kathy White, the woman who allegedly had explosive knowledge about the Carters and then mysteriously died under suspicious circumstances. Sounds like the plot of a Netflix thriller, right? But this is real life, and it's not just one or two names in this whisper network. There's a list of women tied to Jay-Z in some way. Carmen Bryan, Rihanna, even Aaliyah. And the stories are messy. The Aaliyah connection especially sends chills down spines. People in the industry still talk about how she didn't even want to board that final flight. Some claim she was drugged before being carried onto that plane. That's not coming from conspiracy blogs. That's coming from people who were close to her. And the rumor? That Jay-Z was heartbroken when Aaliyah chose Dame Dash over him. Jealousy, competition, tension, it was real. People in the room have said it. So when the public looks at Rymir's case, they don't just see one young man fighting for answers. They see a pattern. A powerful man who allegedly uses that power to erase problems instead of confronting them. Whether it's silencing accusers, intimidating witnesses, or cutting the right checks, the tactics feel chillingly familiar. And the cracks in Jay-Z's untouchable image? They're starting to show. Rymir isn't going anywhere. Every time a door slams in his face, he comes back louder. His latest move? A fresh lawsuit filed on May 6th, accusing Jay-Z and his legal team team of deception, obstruction, and deliberately blocking the truth from ever seeing the light of day. This time, it's not just about paternity. Rymir is claiming psychological and emotional damages, years of harassment, ridicule, and slander. He's calling out the way Jay-Z's team has allegedly manipulated the courts, exploiting loopholes to dodge a DNA test for over a decade. Rymir's fight isn't happening in a clean, orderly courtroom drama. It's more like a survival game. Take Jane Doe, another woman who accused Jay-Z of serious misconduct. She filed her case and then vanished from the legal scene almost as quickly. Why? According to her filings, it wasn't because she suddenly doubted her story. It was because she was cornered outside her own home by men claiming to be investigators for Jay-Z's lawyers. They didn't just ask questions. They pushed her to sign a statement recanting everything she'd said. She refused, but the message was clear: walk away or risk your safety. That's exactly what she did. Not because she lied, but because the fear was bigger than the fight. And here's the darker, unspoken fear nobody in the industry wants to say out loud. What if all of these accusations are true? What if the underage relationships, the abuse of power, the buried children, the silenced women really happened? The same tactics, the intimidation, the denials, the sudden disappearances keep showing up in different women's stories. The names change, but the pattern doesn't. Even Rihanna's rise to fame looks different when you put it under this microscope. She was barely 17 when she was flown to New York, alone, to meet Jay-Z in a corporate office on the 29th floor. According to Rihanna's own words, Jay-Z joked that she could leave through the door with a record deal, or out the window. People laughed when she told that story, but seriously, who says that to a teenage girl? And why has it been brushed off as harmless industry banter for all these years? Piece by piece, the silence is cracking, and the more that comes out, the more it feels like Jay-Z's empire wasn't just built on music. It was built on the silence of the women he left behind, the courts he outmaneuvered, and the fans who didn't want to believe their idol could have such a dark side. But now, that silence is breaking, testimony by testimony. Even Beyoncé, the untouchable queen herself, is being dragged under the microscope. People are asking the dangerous questions. How much did she know? How far would she go to protect the brand? The Carter dynasty, once seen as unbreakable, is starting to look vulnerable. And Rymir, he's not letting go. No matter how many legal traps are laid, no matter how many years pass, he's going to keep pushing until the truth comes out. Because every empire, no matter how big, eventually falls. And it usually starts with the truth someone tried to bury. The scary thing about power is that it makes you believe you can control everything. The Carters have lived in that bubble for years, commanding the media, dominating business deals, deciding who gets to sit at their table and who gets erased from the conversation. But Rymir's fight isn't the kind of scandal you can smooth over with a charity appearance or a surprise album drop. This is personal. It's about blood. And when you're dealing with family, real or alleged, the stakes aren't just financial. They're emotional, generational, legacy level. Insiders say Jay-Z is furious behind the scenes, not just because of the lawsuit, but because the whispers are getting louder in places they can't control. Industry circles, high-profile charity galas, even corporate boardrooms. Executives are asking quiet questions. Sponsors are paying closer attention. And in today's world, a brand can implode faster from a viral rumor than from a guilty verdict. Beyoncé, according to those same insiders, is playing defense like never before, tightening her circle, limiting media interactions, and refusing to address anything that could even hint at this scandal. The image she spent decades building is her fortress, and she's not letting a single crack show. At least not publicly. But behind that silence, there's tension. Because Rymir isn't just another accuser. He's family. Or at least, he believes he is. And if that DNA test ever happens, the truth won't just be a headline. It will be history.